Breaking news, it's really hard to afford a house right now. You may have heard. Today what I'd like to do is identify 5 areas that I'd actually call affordable, at least in the context of our local market here on the South Shore. To me, as someone who's doing this every day in the MLS and in appointments every day, these are the good buys right now. I'm Craig Power with Power Realty Advisors, located in Marshfield, Mass, which will not be featured among these towns. If you've watched before, you know I'm frugal. I care about costs, I always will, and to be more specific about what we're doing here, this is for the theoretical starter home. This is with our first-time buyers in mind. And even if you're not looking on the South Shore, what I can say is I'll wrap up later with some of the overarching themes here that can aid you in your own search. The market is stacked against first-time buyers, so I'm giving you 5 areas being towns or neighborhoods, you'll see what I mean here, that you should glance at. Okay, starting at the top, East Weymouth. This is the closest to Boston we're gonna go. Let me draw a big circle around it here. I've listed and sold a couple houses in here, gotten to know the positives of this market very well. It's very commutable to the city. You have the East Weymouth commuter rail, and then it's probably a 40-minute drive into Boston Monday morning. Good selection of smaller lot sizes, smaller footprints, a lot of 50s and 60s style capes and ranches. And as a matter of fact, for anyone interested in real estate investing, there are sections of East Weymouth that are classified as an opportunity zone, so look that up. A lot of first-time owners around here love vitamin C brewing, which, as we all know, breweries are usually good places to bring your dogs and enjoy a day out. Okay, next. Now we're heading south. I have one neighborhood in Rockland that stands out to me. I don't know if it has an official name, right off Route 139 where you have Durbeck Road, Moncrief Road, and Pierce Road. I love this neighborhood, and let me tell you why. It's an affordable and convenient option for many of our clients. Even those who haven't identified Rockland, we have many who get priced out of the Norwells and the Situates of the world, and it's a mere 10 minutes off the highway. Really nice homes, comparable lot sizes, very sort of conforming style, slow traffic, where kids could play hockey or basketball on the street, more of those Cape and Ranch style homes. Median price point today in December 2023 for a 3-bedroom, I'd ballpark you around $480 to $500. You get more for your money than if you travel 5 minutes east to Hanover. I love this neighborhood. I love it also as a value buy. Let me put it this way. It's a great trick-or-treating neighborhood. Next up, I want to talk about North Pembroke. So being from Marshfield, Pembroke next door is naturally a town where I focus a lot as a real estate agent. Like everywhere, it's getting pricier, but you have wide-ranging inventory here. And like the area of Rockland I mentioned, it may be more convenient than you think reflexively. North Pembroke, for many of my buyer clients over the years, can be the furthest south they'll go if work requires their presence on site closer to Boston. But if that's your situation, I'd say, you know, if you aren't going deep into Pembroke, right, don't rule all of Pembroke out. North Pembroke is a great setup. Pembroke as a town has a lot to offer. My one negative, I wish they had more infrastructure for natural gas. That's one difference compared to the last few. You have a greater percentage of homes heated by oil and propane gas. That matters to some, not all. That's more me injecting my personal preference. But it's a growing town. It's a good time to get in. If I can highlight a local business, Soundcheck Studios in North Pembroke, get some great bands. For the sake of professionalism, I'm not gonna start naming all the wacky, genre-bending jam bands I listen to, but several of them have played at Soundcheck in the last year. All right, so we covered North Pembroke. Now we're on to my 4th affordable area to highlight. I'm gonna draw a big circle around North Plymouth. I like it for all of the above and more. It is the denser section of Plymouth. You have smaller cottage type homes to multifamilies to historic homes. The convenience part of it is beyond the access from the Route 3 and Route 44 connection. You just have a lot of great small business activity around North Plymouth. And by that I mean bars and restaurants. I was recently recommended to the Tasty, had a great dinner there, and they have their own cocktail bar right across the street. It's a terrific experience. Culinary voyage across the 7 seas of flavor. As a first-time buyer, this is a market you should be looking in, right? Some houses may or may not, you know, some just aren't gonna suit your style because they can be so different, a little bit of everything, but keep hitting the pavement, right? North Plymouth is a good, affordable option today. Last but not least, I'm mentioning the entire towns of Bridgewater, and East Bridgewater, which have presented my clients with some really nice options in the last year. The only reason West Bridgewater isn't included is it's just a market I don't know as well and haven't worked in as much, just wouldn't quite call myself an expert in West Bridgewater. And there is a trajectory. This is a macro trend among first-time buyers around here. Because we have an affordability problem, because the market is so slanted against first-time buyers, that people are pushed inward from the coast, right? Here on the South Shore, as prices go up, your budget tends to push you either south or west away from Boston, away from the coast. The areas I've listed so far have just been stops along Route 3. Now we're crossing over closer to Route 24. There's a trajectory I've seen where you start looking in Marshfield or the other coastal towns, and ultimately your dollar stretches so much further for more house in Pembroke or East Bridgewater or Bridgewater. Obviously, there are many people who identify these as the places they want to be right off the bat, right? Bridgewater and East Bridgewater are other towns with wide-ranging inventory, right? It's not just a bunch of 1,000-square-foot homes. In fact, there's a good amount of, larger footprint, higher quality, new construction homes. Bridgewater has one denser section with some multifamily. But let me sort of wrap up, and I want to identify the macro trends in all of this. The themes here, and this has been a thought exercise for me, have been number one, style of homes and starter home inventory, right? Weymouth, Rockland, Pembroke, Plymouth, Bridgewater, far more starter home type profiles than I mentioned like a Norwell before, right? They all are towns with a starter home profile, the capes, the ranches. In Plymouth, there's a lot of like the smaller historic home profiles. With that comes number two, density and smaller lot sizes in a lot of the areas we mentioned. And another part of another trend to identify here beyond those is number three, underrated convenience, right? So that's something to look for, underrated convenience in your search. So whether that means convenience for a work commute or amenities. In Plymouth, for example, I'm highlighting the waterfront, Colony Place, the many commercial areas. Bridgewater and Weymouth, you have commuter rail stops, right? You see what I mean. Clearly, this video has our first-time home buyers in mind. If you are a first-time buyer in Mass, you can check out our free online first-time home buyer guide. I'll link it in the comments here. And don't be shy with your real estate related questions. I tell people all the time, even if you're at the earliest possible stages, just dipping your toes in the water, we are more than happy to provide direction, zero obligation. That's our job. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more South Shore real estate content.